Yeah, if I was asked by countries that hold gold at the Bank of England what to do, I would say get it out as quickly as possible. You can't trust the Bank of England. Friday, November 1st, 2024, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So it looks like India is repatriating more gold from the Bank of England, and I've spoken about that before. When was it? Back in June, India repatriated 100 tons from the Bank of England. And we've just seen a few days ago from Krishan Gopal. He's an analyst for the World Gold Council. And he says the Reserve Bank of India has reported that a further 102 tons of its gold reserves have been moved back to India from the Bank of England. This now means that around 60% of its gold reserves are stored domestically. So I've spoken about India a few times here on the channel, and I have a really interesting video that I did a few years ago about the day India lost 5,000 tons of gold as Britain defaulted. Yes, that happened. And you'll be shocked when that happened, and we're going to go through that. And we're going to go through an article here that I saw and someone sent to me about Russia's push precious metals to lead de-dollarization effort. Yes, we're going to look at the Bank of England as well and how much gold they have. Not the gold that the UK has, because the Bank of England surprisingly is trusted to hold other countries' gold, which is pretty amazing when you listen to the story back in the 1940s. Before we go into India, de-dollarization, gold reserves, we are going to look into the markets a little bit, do it a little bit different today. We've got non-farm payroll today at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It's expected to drop from around 240,000 to around 100,000. So that would be a weak number. But yeah, it's a number that affects the markets greatly. And one thing I wanted to talk about the markets, and I covered this a week or two ago, is the Dow Gold Ratio. Because as I've been saying of late, we need to start measuring assets versus gold because I feel we are in a period where, the whole fiat currency system might be unraveling, or actually not might, it is unraveling. So I wanted to update you here on the monthly close for the Dow Gold Ratio. And yes, gold corrected a little bit yesterday, but we had the lowest monthly close for the Dow versus gold since November 2020. And as you can see by the chart here, it looks like we've broken this rebound that the Dow has had versus gold since the low in 2011. That low was when gold reached 1,920. The Dow Gold Ratio got to around 6. And it's been an upward trend since then, but it looks like we've broken that channel. And I've drawn an arrow there for you and a circle below. What does that mean? Well, that shows that I think we are on the leg to the final, let's say, correction, the final reset of the financial system versus gold. And why the financial system? Well, because if you use the Dow is a really good representation of how Wall Street and the financial sector, the paper market is doing. And as you can see here, back in the early 30s, we had a reset. The Dow Gold Ratio dropped from just above, I think, around 2022 to around 2 back in, back in 1933. And then in 1980, we had the same kind of reset. And that time we went 1 to 1. And that circle that I've drawn now, that is empty, of course, is where I think we're going. In terms of time, it's difficult to say, but I don't think it will be long. And I don't mean next week or next month or next year. I mean in a few years. It's not going to take, in my opinion, another decade. It will be relatively quick. So that's where the markets, the way I see the markets. The other thing that happened yesterday, we continue to see the 10-year gilt yield rise sharply. So it looks like the market really didn't like the budget, the Reeves budget. And I can confirm this morning that, yeah, the 10-year yield has continued to rise. It's at 4.52. We even have the 30-year yield around 5%. And the 2-year and the 5-year, they've gone up quite a lot as well. And that's going to hurt homeowners who have to refinance their 2 or 5-year mortgages. So back to India. Yeah, I've got like a few videos on India. I've talked about India before. I remember there was one video about how India tried to demonetize its cash overnight. That was back in 2016. But more recently, I spoke about back in June 1st, how India repatriated 100 tons of gold from the Bank of England. And so why is this important? Well, because the Bank of England provides a lot of gold to the LBMA. They say they're not a member of the LBMA, but the LBMA members, who are the bullion banks, basically, and they're not just UK bullion banks or London bullion banks. They're bullion banks from all over the world that are based in London, American bullion banks. They go to the LBMA mechanism, they go to the Bank of England, and they lease the gold that the Bank of England holds for a lot of foreign countries. The Bank of England has about 5,300 tons. As you can see from this chart, yes, it has increased of late by about 200 odd tons, I think. The numbers here are in millions of ounces. And it's interesting that Argentina has been sending its gold to the Bank of England. But India has been taking its gold out. And India, of course, is a BRICS member. And it's just taken another 102 tons out. And I'm surprised India still, I don't know if it still has gold with the Bank of England. I'm surprised it ever kept any gold with the Bank of England because the experience for India hasn't been good with the British and the Bank of England. We're going to come to that in a minute. So there's this story here from Watcher.guru. Russia's pushed precious metals to lead de-dollarization effort. Russia has a new plan to stop using US dollars. This de-dollarization initiative was announced by the 2024 BRICS summit. The plan lets BRICS countries trade gold, silver, and diamonds without using dollars at all. Well, I'm not surprised. That's going to continue, and you can trade gold as well at the Shanghai Gold Exchange or the Shanghai Futures Exchange. And that's why I think not just COMEX in the US, but the LBMA or the London bullion market, which is really the biggest bullion market in the world still. That's why they're having problems, because they're paper markets. And these countries want to trade physical gold and silver. And I think that's why India is repatriating its gold from the Bank of England. And that's going to continue to hurt the bullion banks, not just in New York, but in London. And that's why I think in a year, two or more, the COMEX and LBMA will not be as important. And the price discovery mechanism is going to be done elsewhere. And that's going to lead to a lot higher prices here in London and on COMEX because, yeah, countries like the BRICS nations and others, they don't want paper gold, they want real gold. So here's another very interesting video that I did back in February of 2023. And it was about India, the day India lost 5,000 tons of gold as Britain defaulted. Yes, Britain defaulted on 5,000 tons of gold to India. And I sourced this article here. It's called thewire.in. The website is from India, Independent India, and the secret UK-US deal that changed it all. I'm going to put a link to it below in the description. You can read the whole thing. But as you can see here, there's a picture of the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944. It says representatives from 44 nations met for the United States Monetary and Financial Conference. And it talks about how the Americans were very sympathetic to India becoming independent and how they're sympathetic of allowing India to keep a lot of the reserves that were at the Bank of England. During the war, India gave loans to Britain to fight World War II. It threw its weight behind World War II. But it was, they betrayed India right on the day right before independence. So I'm going to read here part of the article towards the end, and it says, as soon as convertibility came into force, July 17th, 1947, Britain threatened that were she weakened by having to repay the sterling balances. And remember, those sterling balances were linked to the dollar, and the dollar was linked to gold. That's why that is important. That's why they didn't want to pay India the sterling balances. She would not be able to provide the leadership that alone would prevent Western Europe from turning communist. And the USA ambassador believed this to be true. So they scaremongered the Americans, right? Into thinking they couldn't convert the balances, India's balances to sterling. Finally, as Britain embarked on default, she alerted the US as to the precise date. By the next day, August 19th, the precise wording in the exchange of letters that would follow between the two sides had been worked out. So convertibility, and that's really important, the convertibility part, because that means India would have, by my calculations, 5,000 tons of gold they would have been able to basically control by converting their sterling balances into dollars. So yeah, so convertibility lasted for only a little over a month. It began July 17th, 1947. It was revoked on August 20th, 1947, 5 days after the agreement was signed with the largest creditor, India, the day before Indian independence. This technical default on the Anglo-American loan agreement actually had the effect of simultaneous default to those countries that held sterling balances that they expected to convert to gold or US dollars. India's dream of using her wartime loan to finance development went up in smoke. So there you go, 5,000 tons of gold. And guess how many tons of gold India has now? 854. So I'm really shocked that they still trust the Bank of England and the British to keep their reserves at the Bank of England. And I'm glad that they're taking it out. And Yeah, if I was asked by countries that hold gold at the Bank of England what to do, I would say get it out as quickly as possible. You can't trust the Bank of England. And can we trust the numbers that they're giving us of the gold that they're holding for clients? Probably not. I'm not saying they're lying, but I wouldn't put it past them. When rats are cornered and desperate, they'll do anything, like Jean-Claude Juncker, a former EU official from Luxembourg, said, when it gets serious, we need to lie, right? I'm not saying they're lying about how much gold they have at the Bank of England. And I'm not sure there's ever been an independent audit at the Bank of England. We have to take their word for it, right? So, well done, India. Keep repatriating your gold. Not so well done, Mr. Millet from Argentina, even though I have to say some of the stuff he's doing in Argentina I think is good. He's not a socialist, but it's too bad that he sent his gold to the Bank of England, because they're using that, Mr. Millet, to keep this debt-based system going. And that's the whole problem with the world right now. So there you go. With that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day, and also a very good weekend. And another thing, Clive isn't on today because he had a prior appointment and he couldn't make it, but he'll probably be on Sunday for the live stream. So there you go. Take care. Bye.